107.5 WBLS, your number one source for R&B.
How y'all doing?
You look fantabulous, darling.
Thank you.
Fantabulous. Now, we're here at MSR Studio,
Yes.
a.k.a. Legacy Studios,
Yes.
To talk about you and all the wonderful things that have been happening in your life and your new album, Milestone.
Can I tell a quick story about
We want to know,
legacy?
Absolutely.
So I'm from New York. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I moved to Williamsburg when I was finally allowed to not do what my parents say, and. My first album, a lot of it was recorded here, and when we first came, and I don't want to tell any secrets if any of the studio managers are listening, but so the whole studio was really, really warm, and we were wondering why it was so warm, right? And they said, oh, Aretha Franklin is coming in, and she doesn't like air conditioning, so and it messes up her vocal cords. So from that point on, I never, ever turned on air conditioning in my hotel or in my car when I was like driving on tour because I was afraid that I would lose my voice. And so one of my peeps went and snuck to look and see what was in her room, and rumor has it that there was a Whopper on a really nice platter. Little story about Legacy Studios when it was called Legacy before it was called MSR. My little 2 cents.
And what were you recording here when you were here?
I was recording parts of I Am. That was way back. Most of that music did not make the album, but I think it was Good Girl. I think that was recorded here from my first album.
Chrisette Michele, how does it feel to actually have 5 studio albums underneath your belt with Milestone? And Milestone is very important to you, so please share us why this album has been entitled Milestone.
Yeah, 5 is to me is a lot. I feel like that's I know a lot of people who have 2 or 3, but 5, I just feel like I had to think a lot about things that rhyme, like so lots of just but so that's really cool. Who does that? And then calling it Milestone, it marks 10 years in the music industry. It marks, when I first got signed, I was going to Five Towns College, used to be in Queens, now it's in Long Island. And I had met my college sweetheart there, where he fell in love with me. And then we got our first big record deal together. We got a writing deal together, and that was right while we were still in college. And then we left school after that. I was in my last semester. And when we got into the music industry, lots of things happened, and it was so scary and overwhelming for both of us. We both had separate lawyers, and they tore us apart. They tore us apart from each other with all of these he said, she said type things. We were in litigation for 7 years, and we weren't allowed to speak, and we did. It's not called a dissertation. What's it called? We did depositions where we would, be dressed and sit in front of a judge and not be able to speak to each other, but have to answer these questions. And it was just grueling because I really loved him. There was even a point in time where the judge asked for my journal, which I had so many of my song lyrics written in, etc. And so it was just a very embarrassing, ego stripping time for me. Long story short, we come out of that time, and I start my own record label. He's continuing to move on in the industry as an executive producer and doing music for TV shows, etc. And I got alone by myself for about 2 weeks, and it takes a lot for me to stop for 2 weeks straight. That's a big deal for me. And I just got on my face in my mom's basement. I just stayed where my mom and dad lived, and I just kept seeing his face. And I went to my mom and I said, "Mom, this is ridiculous. I still love Douglas." And she said, "Of course you do." I said, "Oh my God, why didn't you tell me that sooner?" But moms can't tell you everything, right? You have to find some things out on your own. And so I wrote him this letter, and that is the beginning of how the Milestone album starts. So you hear what happened from that moment until we got engaged, and that's what Milestone is. And then it's the backstory.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So let's just get to the juicy part now. So Chrisette has her own Mr. Biggs, do the left hand dangle.
Yes.
Do you see that? You see it all the way back there?
Yeah.
You probably can see it on 10th Avenue, like seriously. So how did he propose? I think some of us know this, but maybe not all of us. And I think it's amazing how he popped the question to you.
Popped the question. I was in the studio. So BeautyCon happened here in New York City, and I'm all about BeautyCon. And so I got to do like a panel there. And then when it was over, I kept my beat on. You know, I kept my face lit because I knew he was flying in that day. So he flew in, and he came to meet me at the Dream Hotel downtown. He opened up a bottle of Stag's Leap, and we drank the entire bottle and talked for hours. The next days, we went into the studio, into Jungle City Studios, which has this amazing rooftop. And the studio manager said, somebody would like to speak to you on the rooftop. So I go up to the roof, and you guys know what New York City looks like in the daytime. Beautiful. And there's pink flower petals all over the ground, not red rose petals, but pink. And he's kneeling down into them, and he opened up a box, and I'm already screaming and doing things that ruined it for him. I totally ruined it. But when he finally said whatever he said, I finally think I said yes, because this is here. So I'm guessing that through all of that, I said yes.
Beautiful. Let's clap it up for Chrisette, Mr. Biggs. And do you know who the blessed man is that actually will be taking her hand in marriage? Have you seen him? Just direct your attention to your left. There's Mr. Biggs. So Unbreakable, talk to us about the very first single from Milestone. And again, there's a lot of meaning behind Unbreakable.
Yeah. So I ran down the stairs of the Jungle City and ran behind the microphone and wrote down all of my feelings, and then I sang them onto the microphone, and that's Unbreakable. Unbreakable is the story of, you know, there were people who really thought that he was a horrible person and that we shouldn't be together. There are people who really thought that he didn't understand management or understand love, or thought that he was managing me and manipulating my love, and so I started off by saying I did it because I wanted to. That's my excuse for loving you. Ain't nobody asked me to. You're feeling me. I'm feeling you. Stay about my business, though. Court is not in session, though. I don't need the questions, bro. Love got me, like, leave me alone. So you can't break a diamond. You can keep on trying. Our love's on fire. Unbreakable love.
What's you know, it is Sunday, and we're ladies who brunch, right? So just to get a little churchy, what's that saying? You know, your setback is cause for your setup.
Yeah.
Right?
What God put together, no man can put asunder.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're at your rock bottom, at your lowest, that's actually when it's time for the breakthrough to happen.
Totally.
So
Totally, I agree.
Much respect to you for that.
Thank you.
All right. Now let's talk about something else that again, some of us may know, but most of us perhaps do not. You actually have a nice professional relationship with Rick Ross.
Yes.
And one of my favorites, Aston Martin music. Woohoo! You trill so much on that when you do the hook.
Thank you.
Awesome. So everything was fine after you guys recorded that, but then later on, something happened. Your relationship severed.
Yeah.
And then it kind of came back together, which, again, there's your second single from Milestone speaks to that. Can you take us through that journey of what happened between you and Rick Ross?
Sure. We were at the Soul Train Music Awards, and we were going to perform, and I had this big, crazy outfit. I was so excited for everybody to see on stage. And we did this rehearsal. And after rehearsal, we go into our separate dressing rooms, and I don't know where he is. He doesn't know where I am. And somebody came backstage and told me that Rick Ross has left the building. He's upset about the fact that he didn't win an award. And I was devastated. I mean, I was brokenhearted, especially because Paxton Baker, who's one of the great executives at BET, had taken a chance at putting hip hop and R&B on the stage for the first time at the Soul Train Awards. So I went and I wrote this public letter, and it was a sub Instagram, but it was an Instagram nonetheless. And I said all my feelings about hip hop, and I denounced, so many things of our relationship and hip hop in general. I was angry. My mom said I shouldn't do that, but I did it anyway. Anyway, so folks at different magazines covered that story, and it was mortifying. I'm not a person who looks for stories in the media to make me more seen, so that wasn't my intention, and the overwhelming amount of feedback I received just blew me away. I was so uncomfortable with it, and I almost took a hiatus. I sort of just took a breather because I was so uncomfortable. he didn't speak to me again. And understand that we had done shows together in Central Park, just all over the place, around the country, and had so much fun. And so to sever, for that to be torn was devastating. I didn't speak to him for years. And I'm in the studio with Douglas, and I'm telling him that he's arrogant, right? I'm doing like this, and I'm writing a song about that, and I'm saying it in the microphone. And I said, you know what? I can't put this out. This is not nice. So he steals that, and he secretly sends it to Rick Ross. And Rick Ross decided that it would be his reconciliation with me, and he started the song off by saying, I apologize, and then he continues to say, I've been in love with you for 6 years since that Aston Martin music. So that's another reconciliation that happens on the album.
I love it. And that's her second single, which is entitled Equal, featuring Rick Ross.
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard it yet, you should just, check it out, Spotify, get it, and just listen to it. And her album is out. It dropped last week on the 10th. Friday, right?
Yeah.
So Milestone. And here's the thing. It's on your own record label.
Yeah.
So that's a big, big deal. Rich Hipster Records.
Yeah. So everybody knows, every New Yorker knows that if you live in Williamsburg or near it, that you must own, it's mandatory to own a pair of dirty Chuck Taylors. It's like, if you don't, then you don't fit in. So I had moved to Williamsburg, and I'd moved into this place I loved so much. If you guys know The Edge, that's where I was staying, and I was on the 18th floor, and there was all these people with all this money, and all their sneakers were dirty, and I'm just like, why don't you have clean sneakers? And so I would start to meet these people, and I started going to Hillsong, and a lot of them go to Hillsong Church. And they were the most loving, culture-seeking individuals I'd ever seen. There'd be parties outside. I remember on the 4th of July when Jay-Z dropped that album, every car, white, black, Puerto Rican, dirty Chuck Taylors for everyone, was playing the album, and it was just like, this is New York culture on fleek. And so I gave these people a name. I decided to call them Rich Hipsters, because it's not, they say, oh, the hipsters are over there. Don't go over there. No, go where the hipsters are. That's where all the fun is. And so I named my record label after that experience.
So we have questions from the audience. So
Super.
I'm going to be shouting you out. You have no idea if your question has been picked or not. Yeah. Keisha from New Jersey. Where's Keisha? Just raise your hand. Don't be shy. Hey, Keish.
Hi, Keisha.
So Keisha says, do you think reality TV showed the real you, or was it edited too much?
Well, it definitely was the real me. Long answer short. But it was also very edited. We spent days together. So if you guys saw 2 minutes, we were together for a week. If you saw 10 minutes, we were together for a month. And we really got to know each other. Those meals that you saw us biting were finished. And they didn't show us eat the whole meal. So it was definitely edited, but it was definitely me. Totally. I always say the circumstances are not circumstances I would have put myself in, but my reaction to those experiences were my own. Yeah.
Miss Audra from Jersey. Where's Audra? Hey,
Hi,
Audra. So Audra has a question for you, and her question simply is, do you have other passions in addition to your music?
Oh, gosh, totally. I really have this affinity for marketing and promotion and social media marketing and organic marketing and research and things like that. I think that it's important if you're giving someone a product that it resonates with them in a way that makes them feel like they know you, that they found you. And so I try and make sure that everything that I do, even my Instagram videos per se, I feel like you're with me in the room as opposed to feeling like you can't hang out with us. Do you know? So that's one of my passions. And then I just love makeup and hair and nails. I spend way too much money in Sephora.
You've been doing this for 10 years. This is your 5th studio album on your own label. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to get jaded, no matter what industry you're in. Whether you're in the music industry, you work on Wall Street, you're in IT. Mm-hmm. When you are a veteran, it's very easy for your passions to become muted.
Totally.
What still keeps you excited? Like, what keeps you up at night? What still tickles your fancy?
Well, I always make believe that I'm a brand new artist coming out for the very first time. I never feel embarrassed about playing and turning into whoever I want this album to be about. So if I want to talk about my dark side, then I become my dark side. If I want to talk about my happy side, then I become my happy side. And especially with Milestone, we decided to do a 6-week promo run like they did back in the day where you first met me. So we're literally taking 6 weeks in trucks and cars and driving up and down the country and meeting people and shaking hands and signing autographs and going to schools and kissing babies. That's what keeps me not jaded, renewing it every morning. Yeah.
Kiara, did I say it correctly? Did I pronounce? Hey, Kiara's from Jersey City, Jersey. What are your fondest musical memories? That's her question.
Sure. Radio City Music Hall with Jay-Z. He was doing the 10th anniversary of his first album, and I got to sing all the hooks. We did 2 shows. We did one big show for everybody, and then we did this small show in a smaller room, and Beyonce sang a hook, and then Mary J. Blige sang a hook, and this was when I first came out, before Lost Ones had come out. And then, of course, going to Sony Studios and meeting Jay-Z after church. So I was going to this church out in Long Island called Upper Room, and I had on like a baby yellow paisley shirt, right, and like light blue jeans, no makeup, and like flats, and I looked like a girl who just came from church. And when I got there and he was counting money, you know, with somebody important, I felt like a girl who just came from church. And then he asked me to write this song. I had to call all my cousins and be like, what does Jay-Z do? Like, exactly what should I know? Like, you know, I'm not from Brooklyn. I don't know what to do. But that was a really good memory because it was the first time where I learned that artists recognize artists, and he recognized me for my art and not for, you know, our differences. Yeah.
One of my favorite singles is A Couple of Forevers.
Thank you.
One of my favorites.
Thank you.
All right, this is from Tiffany B. Where's Tiffany? Cincinnati, Ohio. Hi, Tiffany. You look gorgeous. Love that outfit, sis.
Super cool.
All right, Tiff says, your EP had 5 different genres. Tiffany's dropping genres.
The EP or the LP? Lyricist Opus?
Yes.
Okay.
And will this album explore different genres as well, Chrisette?
This album explores the sounds that I listened to hanging out in the basement. So the walls in my room were painted with graffiti. I had a book bag that was made out of duct tape and rock and roll stickers. My hair had a blue streak, and Party of 5 was, you know, the thing to do and listen and watch. So this album is that girl. Janet Jackson, The Velvet Rope, Gwen Stefani, Tragic Kingdom, Usher, My Way, and then Third Eye Blind and Blink-182. Just where the production was minimal. There might only be 4 tracks in the production. And the background vocals were, you know, 6-part harmonies, but really condensed. And then the melody was singable, and the song was over fast. That's what this album is. It's girly, and it's sweet, and it's to the point.
Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but we should clap it up for Chrisette Michele because she just inked a McDonald's deal to be the ambassador for their upcoming national initiative.
Thank you.
Can you share some more details? Like, what will we see as consumers? What are we going to see you in?
Sure. So hopefully McDonald's doesn't see this interview, but I think that social media has played a really large part in just me becoming friends of people in general, like you guys. I mean, I'm a comment section lurker. I just like to hang out with you guys, and I think that companies appreciate stuff like that now, and so it's a lot of social media initiatives. I'll be hanging out with them in New Orleans at the Essence Fest for the 365 Black Awards. Nice. So you guys will see lots of McDonald's on my timeline. I'm planning to keep it nutritious in some ways and give the rest to the band, but I will be eating the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles. Forgive me, don't judge me.
We won't judge. At all. Amira, where's Amira from Brick City? Hey,
Hi, how are
Amira.
you?
Beautiful rap, sis. All right, so here's Amira's question. You recently were featured on the cover of Essence magazine with other well-known plus-size role models. What did you take away from that experience?
Am
Great
I plus
question.
size? That was what I took away from. Am I plus size?
No.
That's what I took away from it. And I think that okay, so if we have a few minutes, that conversation is a big deal to me. Women's body empowerment issues, the way we view ourselves and the way that we're viewed in the country and in the world, and then the way that we're viewed completely differently in Rome as opposed to, New Orleans, is almost disappointing. I don't understand who can't dress themselves. I don't understand what it means to look in the mirror and not think you're beautiful. That was not my struggle. I didn't get any bad feedback from the industry because I had thighs. I don't have a sob story about being curvy. And so I felt really out of place in that conversation in that I felt like the initiative was for me to take a stand about being curvy. And really, I just enjoyed wearing a bathing suit on the cover of a magazine and showing you guys my tattoos. So just being able to celebrate women in general was a big deal, and it hurts me to the core that we have to identify it by size as opposed to just, oh, she fly. You know what I mean? Like, you're just fly. I wouldn't say she's fly and curvy,
So given that, when you hear of, a fellow colleague in the industry, Alicia Keys and her Team No Makeup, platform, do you applaud that? Is that something special when we take a radical stance or approach to the traditions of how we should be projected in the media?
When wearing no makeup is radical, then that's disappointing.
It is sad. I agree. It is sad. So what do you do to kind of thumb your chin, to some of the standard practices when it comes to beautifying ourselves and our look in the industry? Is there anything personal?
Things like Alicia Keys wearing no makeup on Instagram. I mean, it's hurtful that we have to say I don't have on any makeup. That makes me radical. But in order to begin that conversation, that's what you have to do. In order to begin that conversation, you have to show 4 different thighs on Ebony magazine. I wrote a song called Ebony, and I dedicate it to that experience. It's the last song on the deluxe track, and it just talks about how much my man loves me for who I am, and how much I love myself for who I am. I use the words I am enough in that song. I use the words curvilicious in a lot of the terms that we hear, but I don't necessarily identify with all of those things. I just wanted my girlfriends to know, girl, if you've got big breasts, buy a big bra. Do you know what I mean? Because, listen.
A good bra is a great investment.
Whether you are a rail or a whale, no, whether you are, whatever the size is, enjoy it, have fun with it, and dress it like it's your last day here. I remember, I won't say her name because she's a little bit on the famous side in the industry. You probably know her, but she had a baby, and she had a few babies. Now I'm going to give her away. But she had a few babies, and I was saying, am I going to look nice in this dress? And she lifted up her shirt, and she was, long and lean. She lifted up her shirt, and from beneath her shirt fell all of her belly that you would never know, from the outside looking in. Everybody has something. Some people should wear Spanx and they're a size 1. I wear Spanx and I'm not a size 1. So I think that we should all just enjoy ourselves.
I agree. Miss Gilda from North Plainfield, New Jersey. Where's Gilda? Hi, Gilda. All right. Gilda's question is, was it a challenge for you to compete or get your music heard due to your style of singing?
Okay, so let's talk about my style of singing. So when you're at a major record label, there are, let's just make up a number, 3 types of music that the record label houses, right? And for each of those boxes, 2 people get to take the place in each of those boxes. I was put into one of those 3 specific boxes at the record label. So you listen to this new album, you hear a song like Black Girl Magic or Indie Girl. I've been writing songs like that since before I got signed. That's just the space that I love to live in. I've never riffed a lot in my music before I got signed. I never screamed and yelled. I never cried on music. When I went into the studio with Neo, he said, Chrisette, you gotta have some pain in your music. And I said, I don't wanna have any pain in my music, Neo. He said, well, you have to. He said, life is not rainbows and sunshine. I said, it is, it's sunflowers, man. It's like, everything's great. And he said, no, it's not. And so it was really tough and hard and painful for me to pull stories or make up stories that were ugly and brokenhearted. It was really hard and uncomfortable for me to riff on the music, but I would go into the studio and make believe I was another artist. Doug will tell you, I would just put on other people's persona and just make believe I was that person. If I had to wear different makeup that day to impersonate somebody, I would. I didn't enjoy always having to be in that box. But what has become known as my style is that box. I had no idea that I wouldn't get to do collaborations with white people. I had no idea that when they said urban dollars, they meant black dollars. I didn't know the difference between urban AC, urban mainstream. I didn't know any of that. It's been difficult for me to come out of what people have decided is my style. With this album, Milestone, I've received more loving comments from the fans than I have since I Am. But there are, executives that have, kind of said, we won't play that because it's not the old you. And so that's why I've decided to take this 6-week promo tour to let people know I wrote that, I meant it, and that's my life.
Amen. All right. It's curious when you mentioned that you kind of assumed other people's persona just to be able to emote that in the music.
Yeah.
I've often read and have heard that R. Kelly actually goes through a similar process. When he wrote the single for Michael Jackson, I'm blanking, but whenever he writes for other people, he literally becomes them to be able to write for them.
I became other people to write for the box.
Gotcha.
So I would impersonate, say, like Mary J. Blige or Toni Braxton or Aretha Franklin or, just somebody. And I would sit and I would study those albums and I would watch them and I watched the way they moved. And then when we had to bring it to the stage, I said, well, how did this person move? And so I would hang out with like a Frank Gatson and we would watch videos and we would decide how the Temptations might move. And as I got older and older in the music industry, it's, after 7 or 8 years, I began to look at it and say, nothing is pink. Yeah. And that's my favorite color. And that worried me. It worried my younger brother. My brother said, Chrissy, why you don't dance no more? Because when you saw me, I had background dancers. That was my thing, was dancing and movement. I didn't know I was curvy, and I didn't know curvy girls weren't supposed to do that. So this album comes back to that truth.
Awesome. What is your process for writing, if you have one, per se?
I create an atmosphere for the sound that I'm going to create. So Milestone went through 3 processes. Processes. Thank you. I struggled with that word the other day. Thanks. So I went through 3 processes. The first one was in a wooden room like this in Los Angeles with all the best musicians, and we came together. And you guys might have seen that on my YouTube, like a lot of really earthy, soulful recordings, lots of sweat, turn off the air conditioner type stuff, and just sing like we're in 1970 and we are fighting for our existence in America. And I sing about those subjects, and I out-riffed every record that I could. And then I sat down and I listened to it and I said, I'm trying to prove that I can sing. I'm trying to prove that I'm a musician, and that bores me. So I laid that project to rest. Then I went into the studio with some gospel friends. So I hung out with Kirk Franklin and Jonathan McReynolds and Molly Music, and we put together some stuff, and it came out really good. Like, I really enjoy it, even now. And so I got to hang out with T.D. Jakes, and he let me perform or sing or minister at his big event that he does, and Megafest. And I sang to the audience, and I felt like I was preaching to the choir. I felt like I'm not taking them somewhere that they don't already understand. And so I just felt like it would be, it wouldn't move anyone to a special place. So then I went into the studio and created a place that I enjoy. So, you know, I was like standing on the tables and pouring things into glasses. And I was just honest. And that's the milestone you have now. But it's about creating an environment.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Do you hang out with any celebrity friends, people that we might know?
I get to talk to them. It's not a lot of hanging out that happens kind of ever for anyone. The last time I sat still and hung out with celebrities, I was in Los Angeles with Michele and Tyrese.
Very nice.
Yeah.
When Chrisette Michele like decompresses and takes the lashes off, takes the clip-ins out, and literally just chillaxes and does nothing, what does that look like?
Looks like my place, SpongeBob and popcorn. Or it looks like a spa day. I'm a big spa day junkie.
And you're from, do you know she's from Long Island, Strong Island?
Long Island.
Long Island.
Yeah.
And you're still New York based?
Yeah, I'm still New York based. We just built a house in Texas, but we still have a place here also.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice. Go ahead, Mr. Biggs.
Am I allowed to say that, babe? Okay.
Did he give you the green light?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
Our church is really close to there, so we were like, let's move close to the church.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So this 33 city tour, what do you expect to get out of that, other than letting us know that Rich Hipster is alive? The 5th studio album, which is on Rich Hipster, is Milestone, and it's all you. What else do you want your fans and your audience to know as you embark on this tour?
I want them to know that I hate the snare drum, and I've been dealing with the snare.
Drum ever do to you, Chrisette Michele?
Despise that sound, and I hate the way it sounds coming from the stage and going out into the audience. So some of my fans will be shocked if they don't see it. So I wanted to let them know in advance. I'm bringing dancers out. The band is going to be very New Yorkish. So my plan is to bring 1990s New York around the globe. So that all black everything, that swag that we do. So I'm really hoping that when I bring it here, we'll be in Times Square on July 23rd. I'm hoping that when I bring it here, you guys totally know what I meant and that you rock with me, because it is, you know, the 90s New York vibes.
And what does she hate? Which instrument?
Okay.
We got it.
All right. Please don't judge me.
And I'm sure we all know how to find you, you know, digitally, virtually, but please share with us where you are across the board online.
Sure. Richhipster.biz is where you can come and hang out and see all of our vlogs and stuff that we do when we're traveling. The milestonetour.com is where you can go to get like t-shirts and CDs and all the tickets to the tours. We're doing like really cool VIP stuff. If any of you guys came to Pose and Post Symposium, I want the VIP sections to sort of feel like that. Very fun, very happy, upbeat Twinkies. So we're doing that there. And then of course, Chrisette M on Snapchat, Chrisette Michele on Instagram, Chrisette M on Twitter, and Chrisette Michele on Facebook, which I'm on Facebook now. Say hi to Facebook mentions.
Hey. So when you pause, once, you know, the promotional tour subsides from this project, are you going to take some downtime and focus on the family? Air quotation marks.
No. I'm always focused on the family. On the road. So we do this tour. It starts July 2nd at Essence Fest and goes through September. And then September we pick up and do another tour. We start rehearsals for the next tour, which is, remember the Love Jones movie? So they remade that for the stage. So we're taking that stage play all over the country. And then we get married. And then we do...
What's the date? What's the date officially?
The winter.
Okay. Got it.
And then we do an overseas tour, and then after that I have another stage play that starts in March, April, and May, and then I'll have some time off, I think, in June.
She's not busy. She's doing absolutely nothing. Jeez. You guys, please give a nice round of applause for Chrisette Michele.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask your fiance? Can she just do a little something natural on the spot? Riff just a couple of forevers and some equal and some
a couple of forevers. Let's see. So I'm recording Equal, and so I'm thinking that I need to be like a wife, right? Like the one that they talk about, like in the Bible. And so we all get really nervous around that word submission, and so the second verse goes, I normally don't talk like this. I let you lead. You usually walk beside me, not in front of me. But I got big girl problems, independent in my nature. Pop bottles later, I still can't hate ya. You better act like you know I'm biased, you make no mistakes. And I ride for you, but you'll be pushing it. Baby, pump them brakes, I'm equal. I'm half of you, but that ego don't look good on you.
That's from the Reconciliation song with Rick Ross, the second single.
Oh, I want to say, speaking of reconciliation, so I reconciled?
Yeah, reconciled.
Reconciled.
Mm-hmm.
A reconcile.
No
Okay,
judge. No
everybody for reconciled, raise your hand.
We all have been reconciled.
Okay, everybody for reconciled, raise your hand. Okay, right. Oh my God. Okay, so I reconciled with, that was the right one, right? I reconciled with my fiance. I reconciled with Rick Ross, and then I also reconciled with my brother. If you guys watch the TV show, R&B Divas of Los Angeles, you might have seen us together there, and it was really, really tumultuous, and that was real life. It was really painful, and he sort of like walked away from me for a little while. But if you listen to a song called Zero, and it's called Zero because I recorded it, and then in order to be able to identify it in the long list of things in our files, I just named it with something that started with the letter Z. Douglas again gave that to my brother, and my brother basically wrote me a letter on it. So when you listen to Zero, just know you'll hear my brother's heart.
Very powerful. Very, very powerful. You know, you wouldn't be doing it if writing the music and emoting and giving us your gift, your talent didn't do something beyond just simply commercially entertain, it wouldn't be worthwhile. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You get last words, Chrisette. Anything you just want to share as we wrap up and close? This is like at church. And the pastor closes us out. You get last words.
You know,
And all hearts and minds are clear then after that.
sometimes I write out everything that I want to say, but I feel like New York, and I'm not just saying that, I feel like New York understands me. Whenever I come out, they come out and they show love. You guys get me. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate that. It's nothing like standing on the stage in your hometown and just knowing that your peeps are going to come out and rock with you. So WBLS, you have been incredibly supportive through the years. It means so much to me to be able to walk into you guys' studio and just to be able to hang out with you guys and be loved on. I remember when I came out with my last album, there were cupcakes and balloons at the studio for me, and I didn't even know that was going to happen. So I'm grateful for the New York love that you guys show. Thank you so much.
All right, amen. This was a really cool hang, right? Thank you to MSR Studios, Legacy Studios, and of course, the #1 source for hip hop and R&B, WBLS 107.5. You gotta clap it up for them.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo.
Awesome.
And once again, my name is Lamonda. Saturday mornings from 8 to 10, and our special guest of the hour, the incomparable, the absolutely phenomenal, beautiful Chrisette Michele.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you.